Hey, how's it going? Welcome back to another episode of the Usagi Podjimbo podcast. A podcast where we talk all about the Ronin Rabbit Usagi Podjimbo. And I'm your host, Mike, and we got a good one for you guys today. I say that about every episode of the podcast. We got a good one for you guys today, But we are looking at issue 16, volume 2, issue 16, which is the last story in the Mirage run. And then we're moving on to Dark Horse. Yes, we are, which is the longest of the runs. But this one we are looking at is, what is it called? I forgot what it's called. It is called A Meeting of Strangers. That's what it's called. And before we get into this, I want to say thank you to everybody who listens to the podcast. And don't forget to rate and review the podcast on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. I love getting feedback, whether it's positive, negative, doesn't matter. I love constructive criticism for the podcast because I want to help the podcast grow. That's the best way to help the podcast grow. But, let's just get into this particular story because I'm excited to actually really talk about this story. So our story picks up, I'm guessing a little ways after the last story. But we see Usagi in great detail trying to eat his meal at this establishment. He's munching and crunching on some, I'm guessing is probably like some meat or maybe some pork, it looks like. He's got like a bowl of rice he's eating on. And he happens to, he kind of perks up a little bit and he sees somebody come in. And this woman comes in. We don't know this woman's name, but she has a very striking look. I want to say stunning look, I would say. I like her look. She's got a good look going on. She has her sword slung over her shoulder. She's wearing it, not like Gin wears it, but she's wearing it over her shoulder and it's on her back, basically. We see this woman pass by Usagi in the restaurant or in the inn, and Usagi goes to grab for his sword, but he doesn't. As this is going on, they're not making eye contact with either of them. Are not making eye contact with each other, and we see Usagi kind of give her a glance after she moves past, and she gives Usagi a glance as well. So obviously, they know something is going on with each other. This woman, she actually sits down and she orders some sake, and the waiter is like, yes, ma'am, right away, I'll bring you some sake. And he's like, here you go. Here's our finest, our best we have. And we see somebody in the background drinking some sake or whatever it is, some alcohol they got going on. And this woman says, I have no money to pay you. I'll have to owe you later. And the guy's like, what? But she kind of starts drinking her drink. And he kind of grumbles and mumbles and kind of walks off. And the guy in the background, he kind of hears this. He's like, oh, hey, girlie, how's it going? He's one of those types of guys. A real sleazeball, one might say. And he's like, oh, I heard that you don't have the funds or you're low on funds to pay for this drink. And, he's like, oh, I'll pay for you. But, afterwards, you got to show me a good time and let's have some fun. And he kind of makes some kissy faces at her. He's like, yeah, come on, And we hear this what? And she has her sword drawn at him. He's like, and she puts it back in her the sheath. And the guy's like, hey, are you crazy? You could have really hurt me with that sword of yours. And he's like, he gets kind of stunned, and all his clothes get shredded in one foul swoop. All his clothes are gone, basically, and he runs out. Usagi happens to notice this, and Usagi looks up, and he looks at this woman. She continues to drink, and Usagi flips her a coin, and he's like, "Here, your drinks are on me." So what a fine guy Usagi is. He will buy anybody a drink, This woman finishes up her drink, walks out. Everybody is kind of scared of her. She walks past Usagi, and as she's about to walk out the door, she turns and says Ronin, and he kind of perks up, and Usagi is. He's like, huh? And she tells him thanks, and she owes him one, and she walks out of the establishment. 3 minutes earlier, apparently, as all this is going on, we see these men running, and they're like, hurry, hurry, And one of the men are like, are you sure she is in there? And this guy, this guy, the best way I can describe this guy for you, he is very cartoony-like, I would say. But he's like, of course she is in there. Well, what do you think I am? I'm a professional informant. He's a professional snitch, and he doesn't give the wrong information. And the man looking for this woman, he's like, hey, here's your money. Get out of here. And look, the informant points at this man, and she's like, look, she's coming out. And they're like, okay, hurry, let's get her. And they kind of all surround her. And I love in the background that the informant, he's like, money, 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 money. Very much like Mr. Krabs, I would say, from SpongeBob. But he's not a crab. I think he's like a monkey, maybe? I'm not 100% sure what exactly he is, because I can't see his ears, because he's wearing a hood. So these men end up surrounding our mystery woman, and there's about 1, 2, 3, 4. There's about 6 men, I would say, and they're like, hold it right there, and they're like, for killing his son's boss, Bakuchi. I think that's what his name is, Bakuchi. They never bring up this name ever in this book ever again, so I'm sorry if I mispronounce it. But apparently, Bakuchi has put a price on your life, and they go and attack this woman, and man, can she fight. I'll tell you that much. She slices and dices and really much holds her own against all these guys, and everybody's surprised. Well, I said the informant surprised, just the one looking on, and all these men are dead, and we get these really cool shots of her menacing or ominously looking down, as she's finished fighting. She wipes the blood off her blade, or whips the blood off her blade with her sword, puts her sword back in, walks away, and we see the informant. He gulps, and she's like, oh man, she killed all those men. I better get out of here, before the authorities arrive. And he's like, and wait a minute. But look, this guy looks familiar. And for some reason, I don't remember how, he actually knows Usagi. Or I should say, knows of Usagi and knows what Usagi looks like. And so the informant runs off, and he's like, I know someone who will pay well for this information. He's like, ha ha ha, money, 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 money. I love money. And so we actually find out who this person is, and we see them at their house, I'm guessing. And they're like, there's the informant was like, it was him. I know it was. I'm sure it was the long-eared Ronin. He's not too far from here. And we hear this man. He's like, at last, the one who ruined me. He made it impossible for those mangy seaweed farmers to form a partnership and drive my seaweed distributorship out of business. So we actually know who this person is from the last story. And this person actually is Yamanaka. You don't remember who Yamanaka is? He was the guy who basically bought all the seaweed from both feuding seaweed farmers, and he basically played them against each other. And they found out about this because one thought the other was stealing seaweed from him. Usagi helped and figured this out. And basically, the guy, I don't remember if he got arrested or not, but maybe he just got run out of town. I can't remember, to be honest. Let me know down in the comments what happened to Yamanaka in the seaweed story. And Yamanaka, actually, he is like, no wandering Ronin can get the best of me. I will get my revenge on him. And if it takes all the money I have, he's like, ha ha ha, right, yeah, and the informant says, oh, it's a wise decision, Yamanaka-san, that will show him you're not to be trifled with, he says. And Yamanaka basically throws all of his coin at this informant. He's like, here, go take care of it. Go hire some goons to basically kill Usagi for what he's done to me. So after the informant gets all of his money, he ends up going away or going off to hire people to take care of Usagi. Like I said, some time has passed. I don't know how much time has passed. I'm guessing maybe a few hours, maybe it's towards the midday. It's hard to say. And Usagi is walking through a forest. We get this really cool scene where we see this man. He is dressed up as like a Buddhist, like a Buddhist monk kind of. He has got the hat on. He's got the rod with the rings around the top of it. We've seen somebody kind of dressed like this before a little bit in was it the Heavens song or whatever issue it was, but he's not wearing like the full face mask, just wearing the hat. And Usagi is walking on one side of the path, and this man is walking on the other, and they kind of sort of cross paths, and this man basically like glares at him, and basically has a hidden blade in his staff. He whips it around, tries to get Usagi, and the man is like, it's impossible. No one can move so fast. Usagi jumps and dodges it, and Usagi pulls out his sword and cuts this man. He said, Usagi happens to say, this man is a Shin Kanuya. I can't say that word. Basically, he is an assassin dressed up as a Buddhist monk. He's like, who would have hired him? He wonders. And Usagi turns around, and he is like, he sees like 20 to 30 other men like charging at him. He's like, it took everything. Apparently, the informant says, it took everything Yamanaka-san gave me to hire this gang, but the Ronin can't defeat 24 swords. I may as well just sit back and enjoy the massacre, the informant says. He also notes that he does look formidable, though, apparently. And the informant actually says as well, it would have been so much easier if that Bond's assassin had taken the Ronin by surprise. That incompetent, apparently, yes, that guy was incompetent. And I should have waited before paying him. So I feel like he might have felt like that he might have lost out on some money that he spent. I wonder exactly how much money he actually did spend. Who actually knows? That'd be interesting to see like how much money he spent on all these assassins. And Usagi ends up taking all these men out, like taking them all out in stride, I would say. Like it's a really, really brutal yet very well choreographed fight scene we get as the informant looks on in sheer terror. And Usagi is huffing and puffing by the end of this fight. And he's like, an assassin, these gang of killers, who wants me dead? And he happens to say, Yamanaka, he's got the resources and the grudge against me. And we see the guy, the little informant in the bushes, he gulps and he's like, I've got to get away before he sees me. And he's like, wait, he's exhausted. He thinks he's won. Haha, he's an easy target. If I were this informant guy, I don't know if I would really feel that this would be an easy win, because Usagi just took out 24 men and an assassin. So I feel like this informant might be hedging his bets, maybe a little bit. Who knows? But he gets this really like happy look in his face. The informant does. He's like, it looks like I'll get my reward after all. He's like, money, 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 money. He's all about that money. And we see Usagi panting and kind of leaning up against a tree. The informant fires, and Usagi is not paying attention whatsoever. And the arrow goes at Usagi, and we see this hand reach up, and I love this panel, these two panels, one of Usagi's reaction of shock and surprise, and the hand that grabs the arrow. And the arrow actually goes in between the panels, which is a really nice touch, and I love this scene. Usagi like gulps, and the arrow was like this close to hitting Usagi's face, and we see the mysterious woman show up, and she's like, "I expected better of you, Ronin." And the informant's like, "Oh my god, she caught it! She caught the arrow!" He is so surprised and shocked. He's like, "Oh my god, where did she come from? She was not even around." And he's like, "Yamanaka can keep his money, keep his reward, There's no way I'm going up against these two guys." And he just runs off and takes off. And the mysterious woman says, "It looks like the bowman escaped." Usagi says, "What's going on? Why did you save me?" And the woman said, "I told you I owed you one, didn't I?" And he's like, "What?" But, he's very confused and shocked. And the woman says, "Now we're even, Ronin. Watch your back, Ronin. I may not be around next time." And Usagi's like, wait, hold on. Who are you? And all we get is Inazuma is her name. And that is where this particular issue ends. And boy, I have so many questions about this new character, Inazuma. But I do have to say, I am very, very much intrigued about what's going on with this new character. She seems so freaking amazing, I have to say. Like, such a strong character in the Usagi Yojimbo universe. And seeing how she just came into the story, wrecked shop, and left, and yet we know really nothing about this woman. And I'm just like, oh, I need to know more. But yeah, no, I definitely really liked this particular issue. It is very intriguing, I have to say. And left me with so many questions. I loved how Usagi kind of just got wrapped into this story. I know it was kind of like a continuation of the seaweed story, the Kaiso story with Yamanaka and whatnot, which was, I was very surprised to see Yamanaka again. I have to just say so myself. And I have a feeling that Yamanaka is definitely, probably 100% going to come back, because he still has his grudge against Usagi for what he did, And the informant, who we never got named in this issue, he just took off, which was really funny to see. There were some really comedic moments, I have to say, in this, and I have to say in this issue. I love seeing the informant just watching all the carnage happen, and kind of just being off to the side and like hoping like things would work itself out, but nothing really worked itself out in the end for him or Yamanaka at all. But it's interesting to see like how Usagi got weaved into this story, and yet Usagi knows nothing about what exactly happened. I mean, he kind of puts some pieces together, but with Azuma and Azuma, we don't know. Is she a good person? Is she a bad person? Obviously, she's killed people, and she's killed people to get a reputation of some sorts. But Usagi doesn't know her. But I have to say, and just like Stray Dog, I am really, really intrigued to see where her story goes. Because she is definitely somebody who is interesting. And I feel like she could be like the opposite to Usagi almost. As well as, what was his name? I really forgot what his name was. I have to say, I'm having like a brain fart trying to remember I know we've talked about him before. Is it Shinji? I can't remember. I think it's Shinji. Was Shinji the one who married Mariko? Hold on, let me go check. It was Kenichi. Kenichi was the one who married Mariko. I don't know why I forgot that. Maybe it's because I haven't seen Kenichi in like such a long time. But Kenichi is kind of like the opposite of Usagi. Maybe Inazuma is kind of like the opposite of Usagi, if you get what I'm saying. Two sides of the same coin kind of thing, or the female equivalent, the Xena warrior princess to Usagi's Hercules. I don't know. You get what I'm saying. I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with this kind of tangent, to be honest. But yeah, I liked this story a lot. It was a lot of fun, a lot of action. I wasn't expecting stuff to happen like, I was expecting like the seaweed guy to come back up, Yamanaka. I really wasn't expecting to come back up at all, which is surprising. But, this is the end, and I feel like we end off on a really big high note with the Mirage run. I feel like the Mirage run had its little ups and downs, but I feel like it ended really, really strong. I'm really excited to go off and check out the Dark Horse run, and we'll get into that, But also, thank you for watching, or thank you for listening, I would say. Don't forget to share the podcast. That's the best way to help rate and review the podcast. Check out the Facebook page, Usagi Podjimbo and Usagi Yojimbo podcast. We're almost to 100 followers on there, which is pretty cool to see. Come hang out, post about Usagi and whatnot. But we'll catch you guys on the next episode. Stay safe, go read some Usagi Yojimbo, and we'll catch you on the next episode.